Every month, millions of people surrender their homes to an enemy that predates humanity. And every month, those same people surrender their wallets to an industry that profits immensely from their continual despair. You notice a shadow dart across your kitchen floor at midnight. Panic instantly sets in. You immediately reach for your phone to call a professional exterminator, fully prepared to sign a binding contract that will drain hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars from your bank account over the next calendar year. They arrive in branded trucks, wearing specialized respirator masks, wielding pressurized canisters of toxic chemicals that smell like industrial warfare. They gravely tell you the infestation is severe. They tell you it requires multiple, extensive treatments. They tell you their proprietary chemicals are the only logical way to protect your family. This is a carefully manufactured reality designed with one singular purpose: to separate you from your money on a permanent, ongoing basis. If you have an active infestation in your house right now, or if you are completely tired of paying for recurring treatments that never seem to actually end the problem, drop the word exploited in the comments below right now. We want to know exactly how many people are currently trapped in this endless cycle of engineered failure. What you are experiencing right now is not a failure of your personal cleanliness, and it is certainly not a lack of chemical stopping power. It is a highly calculated business model. There is a single, naturally occurring powder that costs exactly $1 per application. It does not simply poison the insect. It mechanically destroys it in a brutal way that makes biological resistance physically impossible. The extermination industry knows all about it. They have known about it for over 70 years. They did not hide it because it failed. They hid it because it worked too well. To properly understand why you are trapped in a never-ending war with cockroaches, you must first understand the strict financial architecture of the pest control cartel. According to the 2025 Industry Revenue Report by prominent global market research firms, pest control in the United States alone is a staggering $20 billion industry. Let that massive number sink into your mind for a moment. $20 billion generated every single year. You do not build a $20 billion empire by solving your customers' problems permanently. You build it entirely on recurring revenue. If a service technician walks into your kitchen, applies a cheap, permanent solution, and you literally never see a single roach again, that corporation loses a paying customer forever. Their entire corporate structure, their massive fleet of leased vehicles, their billions in marketing and television advertisements, it all relies exclusively on the insects coming back month after month. This is exactly why they rely on liquid chemical sprays. When a professional extensively sprays your baseboards with synthetic pyrethroids or advanced neurotoxins, they are fundamentally treating the visible symptom, never the actual root cause of the infestation. The expensive spray is chemically designed to kill the visible, foraging population, giving you a temporary, comforting sense of relief and mathematically justifying their heavy invoice. But the chemical rapidly dissipates. It chemically breaks down when exposed to ultraviolet sunlight, it degrades rapidly in ambient indoor air, and within 30 to 60 days, it becomes completely inert and useless. Right on schedule, the hidden egg casings, which are naturally impervious to these liquid sprays, finally hatch. The second generation emerges from the walls, and you are immediately forced to renew your expensive quarterly service contract. It is nothing more than manufactured complexity masquerading as high-level professional expertise. But the genuine alternative they are actively hiding from you is virtually free, completely non-toxic to humans and pets, and devastatingly permanent. If you made it this far, you already know more about this corporate deception than 99% of consumers on the planet. Subscribe and share this video right now to protect this crucial knowledge before the industry tries to systematically erase it again. This brings us directly to the highly classified military documents from the early, turbulent days of the Cold War. In the mid-20th century, the United States Department of Defense faced a massive, unprecedented logistical nightmare. Military barracks scattered across the globe, from deeply humid tropical jungles to blistering arid deserts, were being completely overrun by massive pest infestations. Constant, daily chemical spraying using powerful synthetic agents was becoming astronomically expensive, logistically impossible to maintain across global supply lines, and was beginning to cause severe, undocumented respiratory illnesses among the enlisted soldiers. The military desperately needed a universal solution that was incredibly cheap, required absolutely no specialized training to apply, and most importantly, only had to be applied one single time to achieve permanent eradication. In 1954, a military researcher named Smith published a highly detailed, now declassified report strictly titled Desiccant Efficacy in Military Barrack Pest Eradication. This pivotal document detailed a massive, strategic shift away from failing neurotoxins toward highly effective mechanical insecticides. The military quietly began using a finely milled, naturally occurring mineral dust to line the foundations of their structures. This revolutionary approach was further validated and expanded upon in 1975 when leading researcher Walter Ebeling published his definitive, peer-reviewed work in urban entomology for the prestigious University of California Press. This massive study directly compared the long-term efficacy of mechanical versus chemical insecticides in urban environments. The scientific findings were absolute, brutal, and undeniable. While expensive chemical sprays quickly degraded and always allowed insect populations to fiercely rebound, the cheap mineral dust remained lethal and active forever, simply as long as it was kept relatively dry. It systematically eradicated entire massive colonies and completely prevented reinfestation for decades at a time. The rigorous science was settled. The perfect, unbeatable weapon had been found. And yet, if you ask any modern, highly paid pest control technician about this method today, they will immediately scoff at you. They are trained to tell you it is messy, wildly outdated, or completely ineffective against modern superbugs. They buried the science. We dig it up. So what exactly is this suppressed miracle material? It is a microscopic, highly abrasive powder forged deep in the earth millions of years ago. It is literally the fossilized remains of ancient, single-celled aquatic organisms known to science as diatoms. When aggressively mined and commercially milled down to a highly specific microscopic micron size, it becomes a powdery substance commonly known as food-grade diatomaceous earth, or, alternatively described in scientific literature, as highly refined, amorphous silica dust. To the bare human hand, it feels exactly like soft, harmless baking flour. But under the powerful lens of an electron microscope, it looks like a terrifying, jagged landscape of shattered glass and razor-sharp blades. Cockroaches, like all insects, possess a hard exoskeleton that is entirely protected by a microscopic, waxy, lipid outer layer. This crucial waxy seal is the only thing holding in their vital internal body moisture. When an insect simply walks across a seemingly invisible, microscopic dusting of this ancient powder, the razor-sharp edges instantly slice deep through that protective, waxy seal. The highly porous, skeletal nature of the fossilized shell then immediately acts like a powerful microscopic sponge, rapidly and aggressively absorbing the essential lipids and vital fluids directly from the insect. Within a matter of mere hours, the cockroach dies an agonizing death of catastrophic, unstoppable dehydration. It is a purely mechanical death, a total physical dismantling of their biological armor. A cockroach can no more develop a biological or chemical immunity to diatomaceous earth than a human being can somehow develop a chemical immunity to being repeatedly stabbed with a steel sword. The method is permanent, it is absolute, and it literally costs mere pennies to deploy. Buy a massive 10-pound bag of this exact material for well under $15, which mathematically breaks down to roughly $1 for every single room you need to treat in your house. But you will absolutely never see it heavily advertised on primetime television. You will never, ever see a franchised pest control company enthusiastically offer it as their primary eradication service. You cannot patent ancient fossilized dirt. And what you cannot patent, you cannot build a billion-dollar industry on. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you is the absolute difference between total, permanent eradication and a complete, frustrating waste of your time. Most people acquire this mineral and immediately ruin its efficacy. They apply it incorrectly, and the biological threat continues unabated. They take the dust, cut a massive hole in the bag, and they aggressively pour it in thick, heavy, visible lines all along their baseboards and countertops, falsely thinking that more powder equals a faster death. This is the single biggest mistake you can possibly make. Cockroaches are incredibly cautious and highly sensitive to sudden environmental changes. If their sensitive antennae detect a massive mountain of white powder blocking their usual path, they register it as a physical, impassable barrier, and they will simply walk right around it. They will completely avoid the very trap you just meticulously set for them. Here is the single crucial step that guarantees the result: the exact, highly classified protocol used to perfection in those 1954 military barracks. You must aggressively apply the dust so incredibly thinly that it is practically invisible to the naked human eye. You are not building a defensive wall. You are secretly laying a microscopic, unavoidable minefield. You need to purchase a simple, hand-operated bulb duster, which costs only a few dollars, or you can even use a large, completely dry cosmetic makeup brush. You gently puff the lightest, finest possible cloud of dust deep into the dark, hidden cracks and extremely tight crevices where these insects actually live and breed. You puff it behind the warm refrigerator motor, deep under the damp dishwasher, inside the dark, hollow gaps of your wooden cabinetry, and aggressively deep within the hollow wall voids, specifically where the plumbing pipes enter your home. You want a dusting so incredibly fine and dispersed that when the roach inevitably walks through it during the dark night, they do not even realize they have been fatally coated until it is far too late. Static electricity naturally causes the microscopic glass particles to cling tightly to their hairy legs and underbelly. As they eventually retreat to safety, they will naturally begin to groom themselves, tragically ingesting the glass-like particles and massively accelerating their own internal destruction. More importantly, they will physically carry that static-coated dust deep back into the hidden main nest, silently infecting the entire hidden colony. Once applied correctly in those completely hidden, dry internal voids, the powder absolutely never expires. The $20 billion corporate illusion is officially shattered forever. Acquire the dust, apply it exactly as instructed, protect your home permanently. Starve the parasitic industry that feeds on your distress.